Morning. Good morning. Thank you for the invitation, Cari and Luis. For me, it's a big joy to be here today, sharing with you this couple's time out. And as you said, I have been here in the States for like 6 months, and for me it has been a very beautiful experience, especially how welcoming are you here in Texas. And I am very happy here. And today I want to share with you a little bit about the Lenten season, about what that's mean for your marriage, for you in the personal life and in the marriage life. Because today everything is so quickly, so fast, everything, and we are a lot of time in the phone, in the computer, in GroupMe or WhatsApp or in the message, in the phone, and we don't have a lot of time for us, for our spiritual life, for the life in the marriage sense. And I think Lenten season, this Lenten season is a special time for that. Lenten reminds us how important it is to grow in our spiritual life. I think it's a season of more quiet for more spiritual life. It's a time to see our soul, to see our heart, to stop, to push the brake of the life. That's the reason why we have different seasons in the church, in the religious life. Do you know, the religious life is not like Texas. Most of Texas is very flat. It's very flat. But we are in Austin, and in Austin we have hills. And our spiritual life, it has hills. There are times for work a lot, there's time to stop, there's time to do different things. And Lenten season, I think, is a special time to stop, to push the brake in our life, and to see our soul, to see our heart. Especially when we are talking about the marriage, and about a word that for me is very important, and also in Schoenstatt it is very important. And I think in the whole world it is very important, is the word education. What is education? Education, it's about our life. It's about to grow, to be better persons. It's about that. All the countries, if you see all the countries, they are talking about education. It's an important topic everywhere. Everywhere it is very important. In all the countries, there are ministers of education and a big department, and they are trying to do the best thing, especially in this topic, education. Why? Because in the education, there is the future of the life. We know, it is very clear, if we don't have good education, it's impossible to grow. It's impossible to grow. In Schoenstatt, we have a special word. It's not only education. Maybe some of you know what is, it's a little word before education. We talk about self-education. We talk about here self-education. And that's very important. That's mean trying to work with myself, trying to work with the help of the Blessed Mother, with the help of Jesus, growing in my life, in my spiritual life, but that means also in the very practical things. My spiritual life is not like only a part of my life, no, it's when we are talking about spiritual life, we are talking about my whole life. And the Blessed Mother, she wants to educate us. She's an educator. She's a mother. Do you know? A mother always is an educator. It's not a grandmother. A grandmother gives you things. And yes, because grandmother is not an educator. I remember in my family, when we were children, it was impossible to do many things at home, many things. And now I see when my niece and my nephews, they come to my parents' house, they can jump over the bed, they can do many things that was impossible to us to do it. It was impossible. And I asked to my mother, why they can do that? Because I'm not the mother, I'm the grandmother. And they can have like 3 or 4 portions of dessert, and and I don't have to educate the mother and the father. They have to do that. I am the grandmother, but for us, the Blessed Mother, she is our mother, and she wants to educate us, and she is doing that, I'm sure. And when we are talking about education, especially when we are talking about self-education, we are talking about love. Because it is impossible to have a real education without love. It is impossible. All the big educators in the whole history, they also were people who love a lot. It's impossible to educate without love. It's impossible. And she is working with us with love. With love. That's very important when we are talking about education. And she has the capacity, be sure, she has the capacity to transform our life. Our personal life, our family life, our marital life, all the aspects of our life. Also, our life as worker. How she works with love, with patience, but with a lot of love. That's the very first thing. I remember when I was in the university, I want to tell you a story. I'm not proud about this story, but it was true. When I was in the university, it was very common in the test when you are doing the test, to look a little bit at your side. It was very common, and to copy. That was very common, and all the people in my class did it. I was part of the class, and my two best friends, one was the first in the class and the other one was the second, do you know? And one was in my side, the other one in the other side, and it was a big temptation, do you know? To see a little bit, And I did it many times, but do you know, when I really knew Schoenstatt and knew the Blessed Mother, she transformed my life in many aspects, but in this aspect, when I did my covenant of love, was different. Because this day, I promised to the Blessed Mother, I will never do it again in my whole life. And what was the reason? Because it was bad? I don't think so, because she loves me, and I want to do what she wants. That was the only reason, I think. Because of love. Not because it was a rule. No, it wasn't the reason. Not because it was a rule. It wasn't enough. Because she loves me. And I want to give her something important. And it's a little example how she can change the life. Also, when Father Kentenich 100 years ago, when he started working with the seminarians in Schoenstatt, a little town in the middle of Germany. He was working there. He didn't like to work with these seminarians. He wanted to go to Africa, to Cameroon. He wanted to be a missionary, bringing the faith, for the Catholic faith, for many people. He wanted to baptism a lot of people. He wanted that, but because his health, that was impossible. And the superiors, they said, no, you don't gonna go to Africa. You don't wanna go to Cameroon. And then he wanted to work with big sinners, giving the absolution to the big sinners. But the superiors said, no, you want to work with teenagers, seminarians. And he was very honest. In the first meeting with the seminarians, he was very honest, and he tell to the seminarians, you know, I didn't want to work with you. I didn't want. But I am here. I did nothing to be here. I did nothing. But I am here, and if I am here, it is because the will of God. That's the reason. And if this is the will of God, I will bring you everything in my life. What I can and what I can't. What I know and what I don't know. I will give you everything, but especially my heart. Especially I will give you my heart. And that was the first meeting, the first talk. And it was true. He gave the heart. And he transformed with love these people. Nobody wanted to work with these ones because they were the rebels in the seminary. You know, they were the rebels, and they were doing bad things, not really bad things, but they were very rebel because, you know, Prussian education at this time was very strict, was very difficult, and you have to do that because the rule. There's no reason, because the rule, that's all. And they were rebel because they want to do the things in a different way. They really want to do because they didn't understand the why of many things. And after 2 years, they were transformed. And at first, probably they were the worst in the seminary. After 2 years, they were the best. The best. Because Father Kentenich, and especially the Blessed Mother, she loved them and she transformed the life of every one of them. For us, in this Lenten season, it's also a possibility to grow in my personal life and in my marriage life as a couple. Because we have the love of the Blessed Mother, we have the love of God, and it's a possibility to look how we are, what are the pillars of our life, of my personal life, what are the pillars of my marriage life, and to grow. We have this possibility today. Remember, the Blessed Mother, she is an educator, and that means she wants to transform our personal life. It's about us if we open the heart. Many times, Lenten season can be only a tradition. Can be. Only a tradition. 40 days doing a little bit of fast, a little bit of that, a little bit of that, but only a tradition. But when we are really talking about the church life, we don't want to talk about only about traditions. We talk about traditions because that's part of our personal life, and that has the capacity to touch our life, to take our life, and to transform our life. It's about us. If we open the heart, if we open the soul in this Lenten season, and if we give the heart to the Blessed Mother, and we permit to her to transform our personal life, especially when we are talking about marriage life. But when we are talking about education, remember, we are not talking about instructions. Because when many countries are talking about education, I think they are talking about instruction. How to know more things, how to put more things in our memory, in our head. But that's not the real education. Real education is not only about the head, it's about the soul, it's about the heart. And she is working, the Blessed Mother is working on that. As a real family. Most of the things that we know, we really know, we have learned that in our personal family. In our parents gave us all these things, and our whole family gave us all these things. And here, in the shrine, we are talking about the same. We are talking how to open our heart and how we give to the Blessed Mother the opportunity to educate our marriage. I think today, in this Lenten season, we have the possibility to do that. Now we can speak, we can talk about our life, our personal pillars also, our pillars as couples, and to grow up in these topics.